here we are with the moment you've all been waiting for. It's new car time in GTA, and we've got the Shitzu Keitora. And I've got to say, fabulous work on the logo, Rockstar. I mean, seriously, this is top drawer stuff. Really impressed. Now, obviously, as you'd expect, I've tested this in the way that I normally would. In that I've done a lap of the map, and I'm happy to confirm that it completed that lap of the map in a touch over 13 minutes. And I also checked the top speed, and I am able to confirm that yes, it definitely has one, but I decided it wasn't worth measuring. So if there was ever a car that warranted a fuster cluck, it's this one. This was built with this in mind. There was never any other way I was going to test this. So if you're new to the channel, fuster cluck is a really cool idea that I blatantly pinched from Digby Caesar. Popped a link to his channel down below. You can see all of the clucked by videos that he's done. I think it's a fabulous idea. So I've decided to do them with some of my own.
Yes, Daddy, it's perfect.
And yeah, it is perfect. Now all I need to do is drag this perfect thing up onto that little Corona, and then we can start. 3 little steps, that's all you need to do. Come on, go, go, go. Right, there we go. I can already see this is going to be a long video. So what we're actually doing here is we are doing the Cluckin Bell Farm Raid in the worst cars possible. And as soon as I saw this thing was going to be released, I knew we had to do the Cluckin Bell in this thing because it looks just brilliantly bad. And you'll know what I mean by brilliantly bad as we go through. So let's just clear this out. And so far, it's all been a little bit tame. So my first version of this car was very much brown on brown. So let's turn it up a little bit. Let's pop the drift tune on. I know what some of you are thinking. The drift tune is crap, and some of you might also be thinking, I know you can't drift, because I can't drift. So that's it decided, we need to put the drift tune on. And off we go with our brown on brown driftmobile. Let's see how this gets on. I think I can describe that as a fairly significant negative improvement. This is borderline uncontrollable. I will get round to a review, honestly, I will get round to a review. Right, let's just clear this out and let's start to talk about this car. So, just released today with GTA Online. This is actually based on the Suzuki Carry, which you might know, if you're based in the UK, you might know it was marketed over here as a Bedford Rascal. So this was a K car, and the K cars were really popular in Japan, because you may or may not know, but car ownership in Japan is quite difficult. So for example, for most types of car, you have to be able to legally prove that you have somewhere to park your car before you can buy it. So that means you either need to have a house with a drive, which is unusual in one of the most expensive places to live on earth, or you need to purchase an on-street parking space. Now, the K cars are exempt from that rule, so as a result, these are ridiculously popular in Japan, because you can own one without having to prove you've got somewhere to park it. The only downside is there are some quite strict restrictions on engine size and the size of the car. So that's where cars like this and the Suzuki Cappuccino and the Daihatsu Kopan came from. These were all really, really tiny sort of sports cars and sports coupes that still fitted within the K car rules. And back to the K truck, which is what this is. How's it going? Do you know what? Okay, I suppose. And what you need to know is by this point, I've probably already spent close to 30 minutes doing these missions. And if you're used to doing the Cluckin Bell Farm Raid, you'll know you can do the whole thing in under 45. So the fact that it's taken me 30 minutes to do it just shows you what we're dealing with here. Now, I need to be careful what I say, because I don't want you to think this is a bad car. Because I'm not gonna lie, this is brilliant. I mean, it's crap. If you think of all the ways that a thing can be either good or bad, you know, create yourself a little tick list and put a ticking good and ticking bad. This is going to fill the bad column up pretty quickly. It's not good at anything. It's not fast, even though it does feel fast. It's not fast. It only feels fast because it's so slow and so ridiculously tiny compared to everything else, and so bouncy, and there's no weight over the back end, so it constantly kicks out at the back. So it's not fast. Anyway, before we carry on now, it's time for our first proper costume change. Because what I'm going to do, one of the good things, you know what, this is one place you can put a good tick, in the customization. There is so much customization for this thing, it's unreal. You can be as daft as you want with this. There are no limits to your stupidity with this car. Well, certainly I didn't find any anyway. So let's do the second of the Cluckin Bell Farm missions with the Sprunk truck. So, carrying on with the review, we've ascertained that it's not fast. But what about handling? Now, the drift tune is obviously terrible. I'm not a fan of the drift tune in this game. Anyway, I'm not a fan of drift racing in this game. I think if you're going to do drifting, you need to do it by giving additional power and tweaking the handling, not by just removing all the traction. That just doesn't work. And we're back to my favourite mission, and yes, I know every time I do this I have to use this music, but for the life of me, I just cannot get used to where the people spawn on this mission. I know all the theories. I know you can come in with cars with rocket launchers, anything with lock-on aim should lock onto them and show you where they are, but as you can see, no, not working. So, I mean, I suppose at least my little guy's getting his steps in. You can't really grumble about that, can I? There you are. Right. So, we have ascertained that this thing is not fast, and we ascertained that the handling is not good. One thing that does seem to make a difference, the suspension ride height does seem to make a difference, but adding things onto the truck bed doesn't seem to make a difference. Now, if you think that's a weird comment, there are certain cars in the game where adding anything onto the back actually affects the downforce. So, you know, these can be things like a spare tyre or a boot rack. For some reason change the downforce value, and I thought that might be the case for this, but it doesn't seem to be. If you know different, correct me if I'm wrong, but the only thing that seems to make a difference to how this handles is the suspension ride height, and it does seem to make quite a lot of difference. So if you have it right at the very top, at the highest, then it's uncontrollable and almost undrivable, whereas if you lower it right down to the bottom, it's uncontrollable and undrivable, but in a different way. And if you set it in the middle, it's kind of a blend between the two levels of uncontrollable and the two levels of undrivable. So I'm not painting a great picture here, am I? So anyway, let's just crack on and let's change its frock again. we go with an almost entirely pointless customization change. It's changed the look of the car entirely, but hasn't changed anything about the handling. It's no better, it's no worse. I think it's a little bit. I really quite like the sprung livery. This is one of the things I really like about this. There is a huge amount of customization. I said this before, that there really is no limit to the level of stupidity in the customization of this car, which means that your own personal stupidity doesn't need to be limited by the customization that's available to you. You can make this thing look as daft as you want it to look. As we move in for its final change of appearance, and where it can take the form that it will be keeping for the duration of my ownership. Yep, I'm having a Golf Racing K-Truck, and I don't care what anyone says, that is a thing of beauty. So does this make any difference? Well, let's have a look. At this point, I probably should mention, because there's not much driving on these last two missions, I did both of the last two missions in the Golf version. And then the finale was all about choosing my favourite one. And I'll be honest, because there's not much in it in terms of how they drive, the main thing I did is make sure it didn't have that ridiculous drift tune on it. And then keep it in the Golf livery, because that thing looks sweet. So how do we go about reviewing this thing? Just over 800,000 this will cost you. And then the customizations are reasonably cheap, they're not too bad. You'll be close to $1 million by the time we're done. If for some reason, and I can't for a second imagine what that reason would be, you feel like you need to put the drift tune on it, I mean, the first thing I would say is just sit down, just have a think. Just have a think about whether you really want to do that. Just rewind this video, watch the bits again where I have the drift tune on this car. In standard trim, it's pretty difficult to control. With the drift tune on, it's almost impossible to control. So it sounds like I'm telling you this is terrible and you should avoid it at all costs. And I'm not going to lie, that could not be further from the truth. I think everyone should go and buy this stupid thing immediately. Because this, as far as I'm concerned, is the heart and soul of GTA Online. This is what GTA Online was all about. It was never about griefers and grinding cargo and having every business and having every modification. It was about stupid things, rude jokes and stupid things. And this is the most stupid thing they've added to this stupid game for a very long time. And for that reason, whilst it's crap, it's also simultaneously brilliant. Everyone should buy this. It is the most fun car that has been released in GTA for a long time. So don't just buy it as well. Buy it and use it. Use it for missions. Use it for grinding. Use it for PvP. This is such a cool thing. It is so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. It's almost the coolest thing in the game. And I'll be honest, I think that's all I have to say on this. 800 odd thousand, absolute bargain. Go away, buy it, customize it, make it look stupid, act like an idiot in it. Just enjoy the game in it. Don't take the game too seriously in this thing. It doesn't want you to. So I hope that was useful. I'll see you all in the next one.